بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علمك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, we study today قاعده الید, which is, I think, page 51 on your book. This is different from qaidatul yad. The rule of hand that we had before is different. This is alal yad, seizing with hand or something in the sense that if someone takes another person's property, then till returns it back to that person, he would be responsible. على اليد ما اخذت حتى تودیه. على اليد ما اخذت حتى تودیه. It's obligatory upon the hand to give back what it has taken. So you have a responsibility to give back to the owner what you have taken. Of course, it has lots of details, but the formula is this. This is one of the numerous rules that we have in Islamic Sharia, in fiqh, about respect for people's properties, ownership. In Islam, life of people and properties of people and reputation of people are all important. You cannot harm anyone's life, whether it is by, na'udhu billah, ending their life or affecting their health. You cannot affect anyone's reputation by making it bad, and also you cannot disregard their ownership. So this rule is one of the rules about respect for properties of people, ownership of people. The idea is something that you find not only among Muslims, you find it also among other rational people, but it is also very clear in our fiqh. In order to understand this, we have to consider different scenarios. Suppose you have a car. I may be asking you to borrow your car. With your permission, I take your car. And I am driving carefully. I am parking your car in a proper place. I lock the car. So I did everything properly, but your car is stolen. I am not responsible. Because I am Amin. You have trusted me, and I didn't do anything wrong. I acted as I would do with my own car. Yes, if I do ta'addi, I take your car, then I start carrying, for example, na'udhu billah, drugs with your car, and the police, stops and takes your car, I am responsible. Or I drive very fast and have accident. Or I leave the doors open, not locked, and, thief steals your car. I am responsible. Because I have done ta'addi or tafreed. Either I have acted without enough care, or I have violated the agreement between us. But if it was just amana, and I took your laptop, for example, with your permission, and I was working, then it broke down. You cannot tell me, you have to give me a working laptop, or, you have to fix it. I have to just borrowed from you. Okay? Or, if it is not amin, it is muhsan, of course, after careful study, we will say that muhsan is actually one type of amin. For example, you have taken your car to a garage, or you have asked a friend who can fix the car, please help me to fix this car. And then something happens to your car. That person is not responsible. He's not dhamin. Because he was muhsan, he was trying to help you. Okay? You ask me to take your child to school, then we have accident, his leg is broken, you say you have to pay for everything. I didn't do anything wrong. It happened. I was careful, but this happened. But sometimes there is no amin or muhsan. Someone is taking someone's property without permission. It's qasib, for example. And then something happens. If I have a car and someone without my permission takes my car, and then someone hits the car, he is not guilty, another person is guilty, but he is responsible. Why you took my car? Now you have to fix it. I didn't give you permission. I didn't ask you to look after my car or fix my car. You took it without my permission. You are responsible. الید ما اخذت حتى تودیه. You have to bring it back in the same condition. And if the car is no longer repairable, or it's finished, or it's stolen, you have to give me a similar car or the value of it, depending on cases. So this is the rule. What are the hadith or sources that ulama use to back up this rule? We have some hadith which are general, and we have some hadith which are for particular cases that can be like examples for this general rule. A very famous one, which you find in maybe any book that discusses this rule, Sunni Shia, is a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which actually has become a standard expression of this rule. على الید ما اخذت حتى تودیه. Now we use it as a kind of a standard formula for this rule. على اليد. Yad, as we said before, means control. It doesn't mean that it has to be physically in your hand. Remember when we talked about قاعده الید last week also, we said it doesn't need to be with your hand. It means you, like for example, a car that you drive, a home that you live, a farm that, for example, you have used for growing things, or maybe even a home that you don't live but you have the key. Al-yad means you have istila, means you have control and you are in charge of it. Here we say any person who gains control, even maybe illegally, but anyway he has now control over it, he is responsible for giving it back to the owner. And unless gives back, his zimma is busy, his responsibility is there. This hadith is very clear. Dilala has no problem, meaning is clear. We have issues with sanad, with authenticity, because the chain of narrations is not clear for us. When we look at Shia sources, we find it only in Awal al-La'ali. And Awal al-La'ali is a book of hadith which is not very much recognized by ulama as having all authentic hadith. Even of course for the books which are very reliable, still we have to investigate. I cannot accept even a hadith from Al-Kafi unless I check the chain of narrators, because in Shia we don't have concept of sahih for books. We have hadith which is sahih, but we don't have a book that we say it is sahih from cover to cover. Even in Al-Kafi, even in Tahzib, Istifsar, Kutub Arba'ah, we have to investigate hadith by hadith. So, we don't have this in our major collections of hadith, we don't have this in our early collections of hadith. We have it in Awal al-La'ali without sufficient sanad and documentation for it. We find it in some non-Shia sources, and this by itself is not necessarily a problem if the chain that they give is trusted. If non-Shia source that you trust, the author of that book says that I have received it through this channel, and you are sure that he has received it through that channel, and then you can investigate, and you find it acceptable, you accept it. We have many hadiths that we have from non-Shia. But here, the problem is that this hadith is narrated from Rasulullah by Samura. And the one who narrates from Samura is Hassan al-Basri. Samura is Samurat ibn Jundab. And he is the person who has a famous story that has become the basis of Qaidatul La Dhara. He is the person who had a tree in someone's house and used to go and trouble them, disturb them without asking permission. He said, I have a tree here and I want to visit my tree. And this man has family, has wife, children, all the time, or not all the time, but every time he wanted, he was going and say, I want to see my tree. So he complained to Rasulullah, the owner, and Rasulullah told him that don't do this. Even Rasulullah offered that I give you a tree in heaven instead of this tree. And he didn't accept. Then Rasulullah said to the owner of that home, uproot his tree and throw it. La dharara wa la dhirara fil Islam. No one can harm another person or even himself or herself in Islam. You have right over your property, but you cannot misuse that right to deprive other people from benefiting from their property. This is Samura. And also it is said that this person later took some money from Muawiyah to fabricate some hadith against Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Also, it is said that he went to fight against Imam Hussein. So, a person with such record, that we cannot accept, we don't reject the hadith because he has mentioned it, but we say we cannot trust him. We need to find another way to authenticate. You cannot say, because he said it is wrong. No, but we cannot also say it is acceptable. Also, Hassan al-Basri is a person that is somehow not universally accepted. I can say it in this way. There are differences about opinion about him. So, we don't have any way to authenticate this hadith. Some ulama, like Ayatollah Bujnurdi, who has a collection, a set on قواعد fiqhiyya, one of the most detailed sources on قواعد fiqhiyya is by Ayatollah Bujnurdi, who passed away. His sons are alive, but this is the one who passed away. He says the weakness of sanad can be compensated by shuhra, because when our scholars have throughout the history used a hadith and based on that they have issued fatwa, then this shows that maybe we have now no access to the evidence that they had. If fuqaha had accepted and relied on this hadith, this shuhra can compensate this. But the thing is that shuhra has to be among qudama, not mutaakhirin, among early scholars. And as far as we know, the only early scholar who has accepted this is Sheikh Tusi. There is no other early scholar who has, accepted, referred to this hadith. So, ulama here have different opinions, but the main thing is that although we cannot take this hadith as one adequate source, but we have many other hadiths, either general or in particular cases, that make the whole concept very clear. Plus, this is sirah uqala. In other communities, non-Muslims also, you see, they have such principle that people's property has to be respected. And if without their permission you take their property, you are responsible to give it. I cannot, take your car and when I am finished, I leave it somewhere in London. I say, it was, okay when I left it, it was okay. If you take my car without my permission, you have to bring it back. Not that, even you inform me, I left your park, in South London, go and take it. You have to bring. And if something happens to my car, what do Uqala say? So you are responsible. This poor man, didn't give you permission. You have taken his car. Now the car is damaged, it is stolen. You have to fix it. So this is Uqala'i, and we have no prohibition, no rad', no rejection in Islam about this. Because sometimes maybe people have some rules, but Islam has reservation. The famous example is riba. Islam has reservations, some kinds of riba which people may take it as a business. We say no. But here we don't have any reservation in Islam, and we have many also hadiths which are in different places and different sections. So we don't have any problem about this. There are also, as I said, in particular cases, there are hadiths about, For example, ariya, when you borrow, ijara, when you rent, about mudaraba. Mudaraba is that someone invests, someone gives money, and someone, for example, makes the trade. Okay? So, we have lots of different sections in fiqh, and we have hadith in this particular case. Nothing as general as this hadith of Prophet, Nabawi, but overall, it's okay. Now, question. Does this rule apply to people who are not aware, jahil, or it is only for alim? In what this sense? Someone gives me a key for car and says, you can use this car to go home. He doesn't tell me it's someone else's car. If someone gives you the key and says, you can take this car and go home, what do you think? You think it's his car or he has permission? Later I realized that this was your car. So what should I do? I should say, it doesn't matter, or I should say, now I have responsibility to give the key to the owner. So ulama say, whether you are jahil or you are alim, whether you are aware or not, it doesn't make difference. You are responsible now to make sure that it goes back to the owner. What about saqir, someone who is not baligh, a child? If a child takes the bicycle of his friend without his permission and goes and then it's stolen, can we say the child is responsible or not? We say there are two issues. One is dhaman, one is the obligation of fixing the problem, like paying the money or whatever. Dhaman means that you are responsible, is hukm wad'i. It's like tahara and najasa. Tahara and najasa doesn't matter you are child or you are adult. Does it matter? Is tahara and najasa for adults only? No, even a child, if makes something najis, it's najis. But the thing is that if a child makes masjid najis, masjid becomes najis, but we don't say to child, it's wajib on you to clean the masjid, because child does not have hukm taklifi, so he has no obligation. Who should fix the problem? His guardian. So, if the child takes the bicycle of his friend, or takes, for example, steals the car of a person, sometimes children steal cars. Yeah? The child is responsible in the sense of dhaman. But we ask the guardian to fix the problem. If the child has some property, the guardian can take from the money of the child and spend on paying this debt. If he has no guardian, then hakim shaq can take from the property of the child and pay this debt. So, to be unaware is not an excuse. To be not baligh, mature, is not an excuse. Although, in the case of child, hukm taklifi does not apply, but wali, the guardian, has to sort it. What about amin, yadul amana? If you have trusted me, if you have yourself given me your car to use, you have given me your home to use, here there is no dhaman. If a problem happens, I am not responsible. Unless I do ta'addi or tafriqa. You give me your home, you say, I have a home in Mashhad, you can, go and stay in my home. I take the key, I go there, I leave the heater on, and I come back to London. then the house is burnt. Who is responsible? I'm responsible because I was not careful. But you have given me the key. I was there. Earthquake happens. Your home is broken and destroyed, and I am there. You say you have to fix it because when I gave you the key, it was okay. I say it was not my fault. If I have done ta'addi, if I have been aggressive, hostile, I have done something without respect to your property, that's a problem. Or I was careless, that's a problem. For example, you gave me your home to use, then I went there and kept part of it for myself, part of it I rented to other people, and they came and damaged your, fridge or things, I'm responsible. So, Amin, the one who is trusted, is not responsible unless he is careless or he violates your rights. The reason is, for example, we have Sahiha from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Imam Sadiq from his father, from Rasulullah. لَيْسَ لَكَ أَن تَتَّهِمَ مَنْ قَدْ تَمَنْتَهُ. It's not possible, it's not right for you to accuse the one that you have trusted. If you have trusted me and given me a task, you cannot accuse me, let alone you cannot charge me. If you cannot accuse me, then it means that you cannot charge me also. What about Yadul Ihsan? We have Yadul Amana, Yadul Ihsan. Means someone who wanted to help you. Someone wanted to fix your car, fix your home. Quran says, مَا عَلَى الْمُحْسِنِينَ مِنْ سَبِيلٍ. Those who are muhsin, those who are doing good, there is no harm on them. You cannot question them or charge them. They say actually this is one of the examples of Yadul Amana, because this person is also, Muhsin is also Amin. Actually it's a good case of Amana, because not only you have trusted him, he wanted also to do something good for you. Like a person that you ask him to fix your car, or for example, doctor, hospital that wants to help you, or a school. You have taken your child to a school, you have registered the child, then something happens to your child. If they have been careful, you cannot expect them to pay the cost of, for example, an accident happened to your child. Because you trusted them and also they were trying to help you with education of your child. You cannot say now, because this happened to my child in the school, you have to pay for it. Okay? So, Muhsin is also not responsible. So, this is the summary of this rule. And as you see, this is another sign of Islam's maximum respect for properties of people. حرمة مال المسلم كحرمة دمه. You have to be careful about life of people. You have to be careful about money of people, properties of people. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to follow Islam in a very comprehensive way, not in a selective way. Not that we choose those things which are easy or suit us, and we don't practice those things which are not easy. Islam is a package. Islam is like a food. This food has meat, vegetables, water, salt, spice, all of it. If you just put, water and, spice and salt, no vegetables, no meat, it's not going to help. Maybe even actually becomes something that would damage your health. something that if it is brought completely can help you and give you nutrition, if you don't do it properly, can actually kill you. There are people who have misunderstanding of Islam. They have selected only part of Islam, and then they have come up with a type of Islam which is totally un-Islamic. Once I said in a meeting that there are some versions of Islam today that for me as a Muslim scholar, they are more un-Islamic than any other religion. They are more in conflict with teachings of the Prophet than many non-Muslim ideas. This is when people don't take Islam in a comprehensive way and with proper understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to understand Islam and open our hearts and minds to true Islam and be filled with the light of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.